Hello friends, just out here on the property. This is the hillside going down to the driveway. You can see the drives here. Comes up this hill, goes down into the wash area, it goes that way, crosses the main wash area, way over there, and then goes up the hill, all the way up the hill, going towards the main South Back 40 road. But you can see here that I have I guess my father or my grandfather or my uncles all started doing some permaculture practices where they're lining the edge of the hillside here with rocks to allow water catchment and sediment buildup and to help hold in some of those like the leaves and the sticks and stuff. So every time it rains, because it goes downhill pretty intense here. And it looks like here we have a zybole. It did have a giant agave in here that died, and I took the seed pods and I sprinkled them in there, so hopefully something will come up. There is a bunch of cardboard and other things in there, but yeah, got some vehicles that need to get gone. This is, I believe, my grandfather's Ranger, and the black one was the Ranger before, or it's the parts car, I'm not sure. But you can kind of see along this whole ridge though that they had lined up a berm here, and that berm has done its job and filled up with really good clay silty soils here. So I need to increase this hill because it's basically over the line now and it's starting to head down the hill again. There's another beautiful ocotillo right there. But look how gorgeous some of these mesquites are. I can't wait to see how things progress as we add some understories to help ground cover, and maybe a little supplemental water here and there just to really encourage best growth. But this is our little center garden, which we already planted a couple plants in. This had obviously most of these species here, so most of these are mesquites. I'm not 100% sure what this is. I want to say it's a crown of thorns or something, or maybe it's a palo verde of some kind. I'm not sure. It's not looking the best, honestly. It is off season though. Got a lot of cow patties, which is what we're trying to add to here, because eventually we're going to add some other species. We got this really cool cactus that seems to be making its way, as well as one of the Santa Rita prickly pear or puntia. Plants are our thing. We absolutely love them. We did have a palo verde here, but it did not make it. We tried to use this brush as a natural protective, because all of the mesquite trees here have thorns, or most of the tree species here, including the acacias. There's another one of those. But yeah, we're just puttering. I was working on the A-frame today. You can't really tell in the way background there. I have a huge pile of metal that I'm working. There's a bunch of rusted metal and random parts that just aren't really what we need here. We're gonna close this whole little circle, or this little oval here between these three mesquites. I'm gonna take this all out. This is all gonna get repurposed and replaced in a different place. I'm gonna create a rock bed wall around this, and we'll probably plant two other heat-loving species on either side of these, in between these mesquites. We'll see what, and then we'll do some ground covers, obviously. But Tyler worked in here today, cleaning his little butt off. So I helped him at the end do a little bit of scrubbing on the floors, but he went to fucking town. So the floors scrubbed, counters were cleaned up a little bit, not perfectly, but we used LA Totally Awesome, which is a great product for getting like tobacco and yucky greasy things off of surfaces. Obviously this thing needs still a lot of work, but he scrubbed and used some Murphy's oil on some of the wood. I think we're gonna try to get this one up and running as best as possible so that we can get in here before it's too cold, because we will get some pretty chilly nights. We're going to tear up this carpet, and as you can see, it's pretty gross. But then we're going to make sure the roof is situated. So although we shouldn't have too many issues with rain while we're here, our primary issue with rain is in the summertime during the monsoon season, which is why we need to do the earthworks during the winter here. And it's because it's the most comfortable time to be out here. The sun is just about setting, so you can see where on the hillside here it is going. It'll end up being like right about there by the time it's done. Just a lot of cleanup, as you can see. Another beautiful prickly pear. I believe this one is the native one here to Arizona. There's a native Opuntia prickly pear cactus to every state, which I thought was a really cool fact to know. And look at some of the really neat geology. All of that's like crystals and agates in here. A lot of the soil here is volcanic soil, so yeah. This hill is the one that I'm really going to be trying to focus on before we go. I got to get check dams across as much as I can here and try to limit this stream kind of culverting canyon kind of effect going on from the water erosion, because I want to keep all that soil on the hill here. And over time, we're going to do swales the entirety of this hill all the way across. Multiple swales coming down. Probably in between the mesquite trees, and we'll use the mesquite trees as nurse plants for other species that might be a little more tender, at least at first. Another ocotillo, a big old granddaddy ocotillo. There's another one in the back right there. We'll need to build up this area of rocks because, as you can see, this is where the stream comes down through and it rolls over, and it actually overwent this year. So we will need to raise this up probably 1.5 feet, 2 feet maybe. And then I'd like to do some little catch pools to slow the water down, and then make some barriers, maybe some beaver analogs or some check dams or some gabions, and just keep doing it. So there's pool after pool after pool all the way down to the ponds. This feeds right down to the second pond. But yeah, you can tell that there's a bit more green here because of all the water that it gets through this section. Maybe not so much on the hillside there, but we're going to fix that. So things in the future. Yep, just wanted to touch base with everybody, let you know we're still working on projects. I will be having more solid edited videos of like the projects probably as a whole once we've completed some of these things. I have a bunch of video that I just haven't had time to edit. I prefer kind of running around with this off the cuff, kind of just go with it, vlogging style maybe. I'm not quite sure what style this would be. But yeah, we're really excited. Things are looking good. We got a lot of trash out. Went over and saw my grandmother Reeves yesterday. She made some lasagna, which was banging. Yeah, just enjoying the day. Tyler went to grab some milk and some half and half and some coffee and some little groceries at the local Aravaca Mercantile. Highly recommend going in there. They have a lot of items, and they're very helpful and kind. Yeah, so just working through some stuff. Most of these things are broken, but we might be able to repurpose some parts of them, or maybe recycle them with our recycling pile over here. But yeah, this is that other side of that culvert, or that kind of hillside that's going down to the pond. So you can see we almost have like another little section here before it gets down to the pond, which is over there. And then you can see the drive across, which we actually need to improve upon. It's a little thin, and it seems like it might be failing. Mostly probably from the cows and animals going up and down the sides, and or because they didn't plant it correctly, or maybe they didn't bury it, compact the soil on the top. I'm not quite sure. There could be a lot of different factors, including just like maybe they did plant it and the plants died. I believe the soil is pretty alkaline here in Arizona. I haven't actually done any tests, but all right. We love y'all. Hope everything's good with you, and we will see you all in a day or two.